product session with Transpose. Today we're going to have a very exciting workshop where we're going to be learning about how you, as an analyst, can utilize the tooling of Transpose. Transpose is building out a suite of APIs that provides enterprise-grade access to high-level human-readable data across the Web3 stack. Through its innovative suite, Transpose is reimagining the speed and scope of Web3 development. Transpose believes that building on Web3 data should be fast and simple. Today with us, we have Kurt, who is the founding engineer at Transpose. This workshop is brought to you by MetricsDAO. MetricsDAO is a Web3 analytics community. We have thousands of analysts in our community that are actively going through our different educational programs and sessions. They're free and available to all of you, as well as analytics challenges. So if you already have the analytics skills, feel free to check out the analytics challenges that we have and potentially even get paid. You can join our community on Discord, and that's the best way to connect with us. Okay, so enough about MetricsDAO, and let's jump over to Transpose and to Kurt. So Kurt, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. So like mentioned, I'm going to walk through a bit of the Transpose app, more specifically our playground, understand how you as an analyst can explore our data, build queries, enrich these queries, and also deploy them in your own application. So here we have the Transpose app. This is the landing page here. We have a few different sections kind of dividing into our documentation, but also the exploratory side of Transpose, more specifically the Atlas and the playground. I'll show you the Atlas briefly, but as an analyst, let's say you want to understand what queries other people have written with Transpose as like a decent starting point. So here we have kind of our featured queries, some of our more popular queries, and also other queries that other analysts have written. So as part of this workshop, we're going to build a query that will explore NFT sales and enrich them with metadata, etc. So we'll jump back here to the playground. Now, this is our playground. This is a query editor. On the left side here, we have what will be a sidebar of the queries that you've written. We have our endpoints, which I'll explain a bit about more later. And we also have a list of our table schemas. So we support a variety of chains, and then we break down our tables into what we call the settlement layer, the asset layer, and the protocol layer. Now the lowest level of abstraction here, we call our settlement layer. Now these are your kind of, this is your data at the lowest level. So your accounts, your blocks, your transactions. And as we move up the stack, we have asset layer. Now here we get into NFTs, owners of these NFTs, etc. And at the very highest level, we have our protocol layer. We have a team of protocol engineers who are working day in, day out on the data that's stored in these tables, and we take pride in our speed and completeness. So let's get to building a query. So on our sidebar, we click New, and this creates a new editor to write SQL in. I'll explain a bit more about these top buttons, but one of our latest features that we just released yesterday is an update to our what we call our AI assistant. Now this is built on GPT-4, and you can basically have a conversation with it to get a kickstart to any sort of SQL queries and ask it questions and whatnot. It's extremely helpful. I suggest you all play around with it. So let's start off with something very simple here, which is let's get all NFT sales for Bored Ape Yacht Club. So first things first, we'll need to get the contract address, which you can fetch from Etherscan. see that you can't hear anything. Can we confirm that my voice is coming through? All right, sweet. Great, I'll continue. All right, so here we have all of our Bored Ape Yacht Club sales that was returned. So now let's say we want to build upon this query and we want to view the top 10 sales of all time. So what we can do here is build upon this in order by. So I mentioned earlier we have USD price. So we'll order by USD price descending. And we'll include a limit for the top 10. Great. So here we have our top 10 Bored Ape sales of all time with timestamp. We also include what exchange this sale took place on, what contract version, specific token IDs, payment token addresses, seller addresses, and whatnot. So if you want to filter for sales from a certain buyer or seller, you can do so as well, along with royalty fees and platform fees. So this is very, very useful query. Now, let's say a common use case for this is we want to enrich the sales data with metadata. So let me show you where we store metadata for specific tokens, for specific collections, for specific NFTs. First things first, like say you're wondering, let's filter for specific traits. So here we have our NFTs table. And if we do a very basic query where we filter on contract address as well, we can see what we store for traits. Now, if you scroll over and we view the properties, here we have your standard NFT properties. But one thing that we do at Transpose is we flatten these properties for you. It makes this a bit easier to work with. So at the very end here, we have our flattened properties. So now you can filter based on fur, eyes, mouth, etc. for various properties. Now, if you're interested in collection metadata, we have our collections table. Oops. Whoops, I pasted the wrong one. 1 second. All right, so here we have our collection data for Bored Ape Yacht Club specifically, with description, external URLs, image URLs, etc. So if we want to go back to our existing query here, and we want to enrich that with metadata, here I'll paste it back in. So here we've joined our NFT sales table with our NFTs table, as we just mentioned, which contains our NFT metadata. Now we're still sorting where the contract address equals Bored Ape Yacht Club. We're making sure that there was a price greater than 0 to make sure this was a true sale. And we're still doing the same ordering. Now I've cut down on the list of fields that we're filtering on for the sake of readability. So now here we have the same top 10 sales that we mentioned earlier, but now we're filtering out flattened properties. So as an analyst, now you've successfully viewed all NFT sales. We've now filtered for Bored Ape Yacht Clubs. We've now filtered the top 10 sales out, and now we've enriched those top 10 sales with metadata. Now to build on this a bit more, let's say we want to join in that collections table if you're interested in also like filtering out collections metadata. So paste in this new query, and as you can see, it's the same query as before, but now we're joining the collections table as well. And we're also filtering out the collection name, so you can see we have Bored Ape Yacht Club along with the other sales data that we mentioned. Now, one thing that's very powerful about the playground is that we allow for parameterized queries. So let's say you have this query and you want to run through a list of contract addresses and you want an easy way to paste in these contract addresses. So what we can do now is use our parameterized syntax to create a new parameter here. Now, when you type in a parameter, it'll show up in our parameters tab here. And the name here is reflected from the parameter name that we have in our editor. So here we have a contract address, and now let's say we want to paste in CryptoPunk's address here. So this is the CryptoPunk's contract address that was fetched from Etherscan. Now it's important to note that you can pass in, we'll do all the checksum resolution for you, so you don't need to worry about that on your end. So here we go. Here's the same query, but now we can pass in any contract address in the sidebar here. One thing to note is that also when you click on new parameter name, you can create a new parameter, and we'll do test, and it'll input it in the query directly. So let's go back and filter for the top 10 sales on a particular trait. So this is a great example to understand how you can work with these flattened properties within the SQL editor itself. So let's grab our Bored Ape contract address again. We'll paste it in here. We'll run. But let's say we want to, like I mentioned, filter on fur. So we know that we have our flattened properties. And now the syntax for filtering in the specific JSON format is like so. Fur, and we want to set it for robot. Now, in 48 milliseconds, we've now filtered all NFT sales, ordering on USD price, and now we've filtered out flattened properties for a specific fur trait of robot. So here we have it all. And now let's say, okay, this is awesome. This is the query we want, but we also want to run this in our application code. We've now successfully built a query. We want to call it. What we have now is our generate code snippet button. So when you click on this, you can select the language of your choice, and it'll generate a code snippet that you can include or write in your application. And you can copy it directly here. Or if you want, you can also take advantage of our deployed endpoints feature right here, where you click deploy. You can create a new query lineage. So we'll say like, this will be Bored Ape Yacht Club demo. We'll create an endpoint. Can make it public. And we'll click deploy. And then you have your list of endpoints that you've deployed here, and these endpoints can be callable directly from your application as well. In a same way you would call a traditional REST endpoint. So now that we've successfully built this, curious if there are any questions in the chat.
Yeah, it looks like we don't have any questions at this moment, but yeah, but guys, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat at any moment of this presentation. Thank you.
And I'll share my Telegram info as well if anyone has a question that they want to ask offline as well. Now, one thing we could do in the meantime is show you how you can explore the atlas and also edit any queries that you find. So we'll click on the atlas tab here. And we have this query already exists. So when you're exploring queries in the atlas and you click on them, they'll run immediately and you can view the data. But let's say you want to build upon this. You can also click the open in the playground button and edit the query directly here. And it'll also show up in the sidebar, which is persistent. So every time you log in, you'll have all your queries in front of you. Any questions?
Okay, looks like we don't have any questions at this point.
Awesome.
So you mentioned that if any questions do pop up later, the best way to connect with you would be through Telegram, right?
Yes, and I also recommend joining the Transpose Discord as well. I can link that below. The entire team loves answering questions, so it's a great place.
Amazing. Do ensure to join Transpose Discord to connect with their community. And also, we will have another workshop with Transpose on the 23rd of May, so in a few weeks. And there we will be delving into a different topic, and it's going to be a great opportunity for you to learn even more about the possibilities of this tool. So I will be linking now in the chat the second workshop.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. I hope this was very useful. Look forward to answering any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Kurt, for joining us today. I'm sure it was very useful for many people. And before I finish, is there anything else that you'd like to say?
Yeah, we have a lot of exciting features coming soon. So stay tuned in the Discord. Keep an eye out on the web app or transpose.io. Very excited for what's to come.
Amazing. Excited to see all the upcoming new features and things that Transpose is going to be implementing as well. So do ensure to follow Transpose as well on Twitter and to see, not to miss out the updates, and join their community on Discord, and connect with our team if any questions do pop up. So thank you so much for everyone for attending the session today. And we'll then see you in future sessions. And don't forget to register to the second workshop that we're going to hold with Transpose in a few weeks. Thank you, Kurt, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.